aisles. Young people, old people, everybody loves the music of ABBA. It's interesting, they came from a relatively small country, Sweden, and they were able to capture the attention of the world, as you noted.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're celebrating one of the most iconic groups in music history. We're talking with a terrific author. His name is Michael Mascioni, and he has penned a wonderful book that you're just going to love. It is called ABBA, The Making of an Unstoppable Musical Phenomenon. This fascinating book takes readers on a journey through the band's meteoric rise, timeless music, and transformation into a cultural and multimedia powerhouse. From the global success of Mamma Mia to the futuristic ABBA Voyage concert experience, the author explores how ABBA became more than just a band. They became a lasting symbol of joy, creativity, and global connection. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Bookside Press for helping us put him on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Michael, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
It's such a pleasure. Tell us what it is about ABBA that it had such a great connection to you that you decided to write a book.
Well, it's kind of funny. I first learned about ABBA when I was I was studying in London in a college course, and I was staying in a hotel, and all of a sudden I heard this music blaring, which turned out to be Waterloo, and that was my first introduction to ABBA, and I was excited by the sound. It was something totally different. I do use the phrase joyous and just just such a great spirit and cheerful sound, and that caught my attention. And then I followed them. I attended one of their concerts in the U.S. and I started following them. I think later on to kind of bring us up to date. What interested me was not just the music, but their use of multimedia and interactive media to spread their brand, to expose people to different aspects of their musical career, and to some extent their other projects that they were doing. And so I just found them to be an intriguing band that appealed to across. It has, the band has cross-generational appeal, appealing to young people, older people, people across the globe. And it also stirred a lot of interactivity when you see people dancing at the Mamma Mia shows or at shows of ABBA tribute bands. You realize that they generate so much enthusiasm and spirit. And so there was something different about their sound that captured me, just like pure joy. And so I was just trying to understand how the band evolved from, just being kind of locally important or regionally important in Scandinavia to a global musical powerhouse, as you put it. And it evolved through a lot of different stages, the Mamma Mia musicals and films, the ABBA Gold album, which kind of revived their career in the 1990s. They also were popular in the gay community when they were not that popular outside that community. And then also, then they developed this ABBA museum, which first was a temporary exhibit in London and then became a permanent exhibit in Stockholm.
Yeah,
then there's
they really are a phenomenon. You have to look no further than their Broadway musical. You see people dancing in the aisles, young people, old people, everybody loves the music of ABBA. It's interesting, they came from a relatively small country, Sweden, and they were able to capture the attention of the world, as you noted. Part of that was their use of Eurovision. Tell us about that.
Right, exactly. That was the key linchpin in the launch to a global career. I'm having a little bit of a problem with my internet, but in any case, they entered the Eurovision contest. Eurovision is this global music show that focuses a lot on bands from Europe, and they entered it. And this was in 1974 that they entered the contest. And in fact, they performed Waterloo, which is how the song that I first heard from them. And they won the contest, and they became more widely known across the world. So that played a major role in launching their international career. And, then they became more popular through touring, through their different albums. And, they just, again, had this global appeal, cross-generation appeal. And, people became more familiar with them as a concept they basically, again, emerged from sort of regional popularity to international popularity, largely to a large extent because of their appearance on the Eurovision show.
Absolutely. And the ABBA Voyage concert revolutionized things as well. Talk to us about how their use of technology helped propel their rise to fame.
Right. So the band obviously, disbanded in terms of a live touring band when the members of the band broke up with each other. I mean, the females in the band, and so there was no appetite to perform together as a band for a while. But then the opportunity came about to perform in a different way, virtually, and to appear as avatars. Plus the fact that they're older and they had less of a desire to tour, in terms of live touring. And so they basically came up with this concept of appearing virtually and performing songs virtually as avatars of themselves, and also combining that with the live performance of a band in London. And the whole show was staged from the Special Arena in London and continues to operate there. There are plans to come to other venues in other countries, including the United States, possibly in 2026. But it's also that they were placed in a different context and a different atmosphere, really combining the music with certain themes, including aging, for that matter. And so that appealed to a whole different audience. So a lot of younger people didn't know about ABBA's music, but they became familiar with the band through the ABBA Voyage multimedia show. So again, they're always adding new audiences along the way, people that were not alive when they first started touring.
Exactly. Yeah, it's amazing how they've used and harnessed technology to keep on growing their fan base. And I think that's part of the intriguing aspect of your book is you explore them not only as a musical phenomenon, but as a marketing phenomenon, from the museum to the Broadway show to the ABBA experience. They just had a great feeling for what would sell to audiences around the world, right?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't calculated. That's the sort of the mistaken notion that people have that they set about to be highly commercial. I think it happened organically. Their former manager, Stig Anderson, was very calculating, business-minded, but I don't think the group as a whole was that oriented towards cranking out hits. They did what came naturally, which happened to be commercial. I mean, I would say Bjorn Ulvaeus, the guitar player in the band, was perhaps more business-minded, and he's been involved with a lot of these multimedia and interactive projects. But it's just something that happened naturally, and they had such a unique combination of music and unique combination of the female singers, which was a big attraction to people. So all of those elements came out, and they felt very free to experiment. This is the other thing that's different about them. They were experimenting with a lot of different musical styles, whether it was more European folk music, or disco music, or other kinds of music, and so that also broadened their appeal to different audiences. And so I totally agree. They developed into a brand. I mean, I basically refer to them as a cultural brand, as a marketing brand, as you put it. But it's not that they set out as a group to become that way. It just happened through serendipity that they came about at a time when, they opened up this avenue for pop music or rock music from Europe. And it just happened to work out that way. It's just that they struck gold in a way at the time that they emerged. It would be different now.
Yeah. It is very, very different now. The whole music industry has changed because of downloading versus album sales and CD sales and so forth. What do you hope readers take away from the book? What do you hope they learn about the band? What do you hope they learned about the music industry?
A couple of things. I would say first, they had an unorthodox career. I mean, basically, they were not a touring band for that long in their career, or recording for that matter. And so they evolved in different directions, and they were aided by a lot of these multimedia efforts, whether it's the Mamma Mia musicals or films, or the ABBA Voyage show, or the ABBA Museum in Stockholm. And by the way, I was just going to add another aspect of the multimedia activities is that there's actually a pinball game that is set to ABBA music. This is something that I had never heard of before, but I learned, and that was the idea of Ludwig Anderson, who was the co-producer of the ABBA Voyage show. He came up with the concept of setting ABBA's music to a pinball machine because he felt it coincided with the period of time that ABBA emerged in the 70s, that pinball was very popular. So that's another marketing aspect that many people are not familiar with. So I think it's just they had an unorthodox career. They evolved through all of these different stages, including the use of new technology and multimedia. And that leads me to a second point, which is that they were an innovative and experimental band, even though people didn't think of them that way. I mean, they were using new technologies such as immersive technologies for the ABBA Voyage show. And even in the musical area, they were one of the first bands to use mini-moog synthesizers, digital recording in the studio. So they're continually evolving to the point where Bjorn Ulvaeus is actually developing a musical using an AI tool to basically help generate some ideas or feedback. A lot of the ideas, as he concedes, are not very good, but he says ones that are helpful trigger other thoughts that he has. So again, they've been innovative from the start of their career to the present, and that's a very unique quality. And then the third thing I would say is that they're inherently an interactive band in the sense that the audience participates in their music, in their experiences, whether it's through concerts, whether it's through the ABBA musical, whether it's through the ABBA tribute band, and there are loads of ABBA tribute bands out there, and they're very popular. I mean, the best ones are very popular. So it's all of these different elements that come together that really make them a unique band.
They also contributed to culture through their philanthropic work as well. That's part of your book. Tell us how they contributed there.
Right. They have been involved in philanthropic causes, including environmental causes. Bjorn Ulvaeus is involved with copyright protection for composers. He's been very active in that area. So even though they were not considered a political band, in fact, they were heavily criticized in Sweden for being apolitical. They do have certain causes, but those are not sort of the main, selling points, part of the whole marketing effort. Those are just things that they're involved with. So yes, I mean, there are a lot of different dimensions to them, and that's definitely another one.
Wonderful, wonderful. It is a terrific book, folks. It's a great trip down memory lane to the wonderful music of ABBA that is still very, very much alive today. And this book brings it to life. You'll get the inside stories, you'll get a look behind the scenes, and you'll get a look at this cultural phenomenon that created the most successful band in the history of the world other than the Beatles. So if you're asked on Jeopardy one day, what's the second most popular band in the world? The answer is ABBA. And that is the name of this book as well, ABBA, The Making of an Unstoppable Musical Phenomenon. It's a fascinating book that takes readers on a journey through the band's meteoric rise, timeless music, and transformation into a cultural and multimedia powerhouse. Michael, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time, your insight, and the wonderful work on this book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.